I think it needs to be better than what we were in the spring for sure. So hopefully that's the case. But always really hard to tell until we start the race and see kind of where we stack up and what our strengths are and how well we can do on pit road.
William was complaining about his tires chattering. You think it was just a set of tires? Sorry, not the setup. Did you have any issues like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's hard for me to speculate. It's everyone drives a little differently here and there. Really hard for me to speculate on somebody else.
For something completely different, Hooters started this virtual restaurant with you, and it's called Chase Elliott's Chicken Tenders, Chicken Nuggets. How the hell did that start? And have you ever been involved in something so weird?
No, it's not weird. It's I think you see it with other restaurants who want to promote a driver or whatever they're involved in, and Hooters is no different. And I appreciate them wanting to involve me in their day-to-day sales and be basically a part of the menu. I guess it's kind of cool, but it is like I said, I don't think it's super uncommon to see people's names involved in menu items, and they just they want to do something a little different, and hopefully it's a good thing.
I don't mean it to sound weird, but when they approached you with it, did you kind of like? I mean, it's kind of off the wall kind of thing, or?
I didn't think it was off the wall.
No? Okay, thank you.
Do you think win or do you think points tomorrow?
Both. I want to win, and I think obviously having a good points day would be nice as well. But if you're in contention to win the race, likely the points are going to take care of themselves. It's kind of how I look at it. But I would love to win. And just because you're immersed in these final 10 weeks doesn't mean you don't have desire and drive to win races. I still want to be in the fight, for the win and be up front and be battling for stage wins and try to control the race at the right time.
How much emphasis do you put on the stage points?
The more you get, the better your odds are of making things.
Yeah. How would you characterize these playoffs as far as maybe compared to others? You've had really good days and really bad days.
Yeah, I think that's kind of been the trend of our year. Honestly, just a lot of inconsistency, having really good weeks and some really poor weeks as well, and they've even come in a very similar stretch of time. So just part of the deal sometimes. And for us, we're just focused on here today, right now, and Martinsville, and trying to put together a good weekend and hope it's good enough to have a shot next week. I think if you get in that Final Four, any of the four have a chance. So we want to try to have a good weekend here, control what we can control, perform at the best of our ability at the things that we're good at, and I think if we do that, we'll be just fine.
Any more
Chase.
sense of an accomplishment if you make the Final Four, considering maybe the roller coaster it's been?
It always means a lot. I'm not really sure I'm following your question.
I don't remember you having as many bad days in the playoffs in the past few years, and I feel like this has gone a little less smoothly. So I'm curious if overcoming some of the bad days makes it any more easier.
Well, it's certainly not always going to be rainbows and butterflies. I mean, it's just not. As much as I would love for it to be, it's not. And I recognize that, and as a team, we understand that too. I don't know that I don't know if you make it means any more. I think being a part of the Final Four is a great accomplishment, whether you've had a good 9 weeks or a mediocre 9 weeks or a poor 9 weeks. In my opinion, I think it's just as meaningful regardless of how you get there. But obviously, we're not there currently, so I'm not concerned with that right now.
Chase, how is the car handling and performing differently now than it did in the spring?
Not a ton. Very, very similar. I know NASCAR made a gear change, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think it's any different now. Generally speaking, I don't think it's a lot different than what we had here in the spring. Still shifting. It's still going to be very difficult to pass, in my opinion. I think there are some cars that have strengths maybe some being good at the front of a run and some being good late in a run. Is that delta enough to create passing and comers and goers? I don't know. Have to kind of wait and see. But a very similar vibe with just the general characteristics of the car from what I remember here in the spring race.
You talk about how hard it is to pass, and so there's a lot of guys with a lot of things on the line here this weekend. Will we see more desperation moves because of that?
Potentially. We'll see. I can't answer that, but we'll see.
Is it a relief to see Alex Bowman come back next week?
Yeah, I was super happy to see that. And look, Alex is a great dude, and he's been a great teammate to me the entire time he's been around HMS or racing with him on track. So look forward to having him back, and hopefully he can avoid further injury and continue to stay healthy. And it sounds like him doing the process and things that he's had going on has been a really positive approach to fixing things, and he's got a great person with unfortunate experience in the area in Dale, and Dale was able to overcome his injuries and come back and have success, and I think Alex will do the same.
Hopefully you won't have to go through this, but with the impact on the short track, given the car that you're racing now, is it less than it is on a 1.5 mile or super speedway, if in the case of an accident?
I mean, I don't think you're immune to injury really anywhere. The right circumstance, the right time, the right situation can certainly cause problems regardless of how fast you're going, I think.
Okay.
Do you think they need to consider some sort of short track package if they're not able to get this race how we are used to seeing it?
That's a great question. Look, I don't know. I'm not sure what their direction needs to be. I want the racing to be good and exciting from a fan standpoint, and I want it to be successful, and I want it to put on a great show, and the people that are here today and tomorrow, I want them to come back in the spring, come back next fall. This is a big race on our schedule, right? It should be an exciting one, so I hope that it is, and if it's not, I hope that we're sharp enough to be able to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, maybe we need to make this better. But that's not my call, and I want it to be my call. I tell you guys this every week. It's not my job title, and I'm here to do my job to the best of my ability and go as fast as I can and contribute in my small little confined area as much as possible.
To kind of follow up on that, would you like to see the road courses be more competitive? Because, I mean, NASCAR knocked it out of the park on the intermediate tracks. Then he was in here a few minutes ago saying he'd love to be at Homestead this weekend and really be able to, battle side by side to determine the 4 drivers that go in. And, to kind of where Jeff was going with short tracks, we've seen the same thing with the road courses. And so it's like if there could be, you guys spend tons of money on cars. I mean, nowhere close to Formula One, but, could we have a short track specific model or, a road course specific package that would make the racing perhaps a little more scintillating?
Like I said a second ago, I think that if I'm the decision maker and the racing is not what I want it to be, then I would hope that the conversation of making a change would at least happen. And obviously there's a lot of hurdles and things that have to be gone through in order to do that, because the teams are the ones to be faced with the costs of it, right? So they obviously have a say in that, and they should have a say, because without them, there is no show, right? Without the teams, there's no drivers, and without the drivers and the teams, there's no race. So absolutely, I think whatever they collectively come together and think is the right decision is obviously fine with me, but as a fan of the sport, I want it to do good. I want it to be successful, and if that's what needs to happen, then great. Hopefully they can come to an agreement to make it happy and make it good for everybody. But yeah, they're spending a ton of money. Certainly no cheaper, it doesn't seem like.
What about the stage tomorrow, and with racing for a spot in the championship 4, and where you're at the points, is your patience level just like razor thin at this point?
I don't really feel like it's any different. I'm not sure I have a ton of patience in general, so but I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to bed tonight thinking anything different than I would here in the spring race, right? I mean, I want to do the things that I need to do to put myself in a position to try to win the race, and honestly, I don't think that's any different today than it would have been in the spring. We need to go to work on our balance tonight, try to make the right decisions and right choices on our car, have solid pit stops tomorrow, and me execute a good race on track. And those things all combined are going to give us the best result. I know it sounds boring and silly, but that's the truth of the matter. And I'm not going to bed any different today than I would any other weekend.
How cool would it be to the Elliott family to have a multiple Cup champion in the family?
Yeah, look, I'm sure it would be great. Until you cross those bridges, I don't know. I really don't. Until you experience those moments and get to live them firsthand, if you're lucky enough and fortunate enough to do that, you don't know what it feels like. So I can sit here and give you a bunch of big words on how much it would mean to me and how excited I would be. But I think until you experience moments that are that special to you because of how hard they are to achieve, you can't put a meaning on it.
Thank you, Chase.